Mack Horton snubs ABC reporter Jake Sturmer when confronted about the Shayna Jack doping scandal. I have chronic diarrhea, what's going on? We discuss in this video.
G'day Mac, Jake Sturmer from ABC News. Shayna Jack dispute.
G'day everyone, I'm the left-leaning conservative, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment below, plus hit the bell if you want a notification every time I could be bothered to upload a new video. So Mack Horton has snubbed ABC reporter Jake Sturmer for asking him about teammate Shayna Jack and her doping scandal. I'll run the video clip which is on the ABC's YouTube channel, and I'll put a link below so people can watch it at their own accord. Mack Horton's in a really interesting spot here with teammate Shayna Jack, but look, I'll run the clip and then we'll discuss after.
G'day Mac, Jake Sturmer from ABC News here. Look, I just wonder if you had any words about the Shayna Jack dispute. Do you regret going up and the podium protest at the moment? Mac, any words of support? Any thoughts at all? Anything you wanted to say, Mac? Would you have done anything differently, Mac?
It's a pretty interesting video. If I'm being quite honest, he kind of rubs off a little bit arrogant, a little bit of a douchebag, and I'm sure he's a good dude. He's probably a really nice guy. It's hard sometimes on camera when someone just sticks one in your face and asks a really controversial question. Sometimes it, puts you on the back foot and you look pretty guilty.
You are guilty.
But it is a very interesting situation for Mack Horton. For some people that might not know, Shayna Jack, a teammate of his, has tested positive to a banned substance called Ligandrol. I have done a video about that. I'll also link that below where you can catch some more details. And Mack Horton has been protesting Sun Yang, a Chinese swimmer who is pretty much unbeatable at the moment. He wouldn't take photos on the podium. He didn't really want to stand next to him. And now he's caught himself with a teammate who's doing something very, very similar. And he has, I think ABC did mention that he commented after this video was taken and sort of saying that, anyone who's caught taking drugs or doping or using steroids should all fall under the same, ban or same law, whatever you want to call it. So if Sun Yang's caught, yep, cool, he should be banned. And then Shayna Jack probably in the same boat there. But it was really interesting because Richard Ings, who used to head ASADA, the Australian Doping Authority, was on Sky News. And I'll run a little clip now of what he had to say about Mack Horton.
Look, I think everyone's entitled to their right to free speech, but my initial reaction was, glass houses, mate. You shouldn't be throwing stones. And also there was an Australian swimmer on the team in South Korea who served a 12-month ban for failing to be available for 3 drug tests. I
do have to agree with Richard Ings there, those in glass houses. And what does Mack Horton do, and what does Swimming Australia do? I mean, I watched a really interesting video last night. There's a guy called the Metabolic Doc, and he was doing a podcast online, and also, I will also link that below, where he was speaking about some of the CrossFit Games athletes that have tested positive to all sorts of banned substances. And a lot of them were women. And if you look at these women in CrossFit and even some sort of athletics, sprinters, and they are shredded. They're super lean. Their shoulders are big. They've got big traps. And the reason I bring that up, because if you're taking something like Ligandrol or any type of growth hormone, there are a lot of androgen receptors in your shoulders, a lot of androgen receptors in your traps, and they're sometimes the first thing that blow up when you're on gear. And if you go to the gym like myself and pump iron, lift weights, pumping iron sounds a little bit douchebaggy. You'll notice some people at the gym that with these gigantic shoulders. They look like they've inserted watermelons or rock melons into their deltoids, and their traps are massive. They look like freaking pit bulls. And you wonder to yourself, how do you look like that? You know, you're training similar to what I'm doing, and you're completely shredded all year round, which is like these athletes. If you want to be super lean and that muscular, it's pretty difficult to do that all year round. It's almost impossible. You've got to do a bulk phase, then you've got to do a cut. I'm bulking! Look, I just think with a lot of these swimmers, yeah, okay, they're not using things that they would use in, say, CrossFit. It's a different type of sport, but the substances that Sun Yang has been caught with is heart medication, but it sort of falls under the blood doping realm where oxygen is enriched in your blood and therefore you recover better, your endurance is better. So it's a little bit of a different type of doping. Look, I was getting a bit off track there, but, you know, going back to this situation and wrapping things up.
You are such a loser!
You know, Mack Horton did just look a little bit funny there. He did look a little bit guilty and didn't know what to say to Jake Thurmer. And good on Jake Thurmer for confronting Mack Horton because, you know, as Richard Ings said, those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, and I have to agree with him there. And it would be a difficult situation for Mack Horton having a teammate that has tested positive to a bad substance like Ligandrol, which is a steroid for building muscle and for endurance and recovery. So it's nothing else. That's 100% what it's for. So like I said, it's a difficult situation for Mack Horton, and I think sport in general is under the microscope, you know, with drugs, because they're easy to take, they're out of your system pretty quickly. You can take certain diuretics and then you come across as a clean athlete, but realistically you've been doping for the past 2 years to perform at the highest level. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I'm the left-leaning conservative. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below, and hit the bell if you want a notification every time I upload a new video. Thanks again, and I will see you guys soon. Ciao.